I have no room for games.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping.
Alright, so my ME has, and by ME I mean my Windows Millennium Edition installation over here, the 90 gig, has run out of space for games and stuff. So I figured I'd make this video here just to kind of show how I'm going to go to from a 8 gig hard drive to a 20 gig hard drive to a little bit more than double my space here for some of these old games. It should hold me out a little bit. I could go larger, but I just happen to have this sized IDE hard drive available for me, so I set their jumpers and plugged in their powers, and I'm going to be actually using Linux to basically copy the image directly from here to here, and then just extend the partition to give me the additional space that I need without creating another partition. I could do that too, but I'd rather just have an extended partition. So I'll be showing that in a little bit, and I'll be using this IODD device instead of burning Linux or gparted to a disk. Get one of these. They're just fantastic. I'm going to show it to you here. First off, it won't show. Yeah, see, they're IODD 2531. It won't show the actual thing yet until I boot the computer. So I'm just going to boot it here temporarily. Okay, well, actually first here, I'm going to edit all this together, but we'll see here. As I press the power button, hopefully I'll get I want to see the BIOS first so it actually registers and sees the disks, because that's the first thing. And I think it's F8. I think it's F8 on this PC motherboard to get the boot menu option. So, I saw it there for a quick second, so I'm actually going to stop this video to quickly see if I have both disks visible, because it was pretty quick there. Okay, so I did get actually both disks to show at the boot BIOS, so that's a good thing. I'm just gonna squeeze this over here. I also noticed that my video was actually not in the position that I wanted it to be, so I quickly, when I'm recording this, make sure that's correct. Now I'll show you here the IODD. As you can see, if I can zoom in, there you go. I'll kind of use my other hand here. See if I can get the focus to work. Come on. Come on, focus. Anyway, I'm just going to shift here and down. It's up and down, and this little knob will give me a list of all the ISOs on this thing. So I'm just going to go with G-parted in this. Oops, sorry about that. I'm definitely going to have to get a VGA recorder, but they're just so expensive. But if you want good quality videos, it's just what you kind of gonna have to do here. So I'm gonna go with G-parted Live X64, and then I'm gonna press that in so it actually mounts the disc. And as you can see here, that it shows as a hard drive as well as a CD-ROM, and that's just how it works, because you add the ISOs to the hard drive on Windows or something, and then when I show you the list, whatever I select on the list will actually be mounted as a CD-ROM. So fantastic device. I'm just gonna boot to it here. And there we go, and a couple seconds here. I think I need other modes because this computer's a little bit old, so I'm gonna go fail safe here because of the APCI or whatever, ACPI drivers or something get a little bit wonky. So this I just know that this is gonna work going into fail safe mode here. So yeah, let's we'll let that boot up, and then I'll start recording once we're in G-parted. I'm just gonna start recording here while these kind of errors show up. You don't have to worry about these too much. One of them is about my video card, something about something else. You don't have to worry about those too much. In this case, I'm just going to go with the don't touch my keyboard map. Just press enter because I'm going to stick with English US, and I do want a GUI, so to speak, or an X window. So I just press enter, 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 enter. You know, it's a little weird here, but just don't worry, it'll come up normal. And I would use Fedora Live for the most part. Absolutely fantastic version of Linux to run, but For some reason, the live instance doesn't have gparted, and I often boot these live instances without internet actually, so I just need to run these tools offline sometimes, and the fact that Fedora Live doesn't have gparted is kind of frustrating a little bit, because it is absolutely one of the most fantastic tools you can literally have. And here, right here, I can easily tell that the one that I want to copy from is SDA, because I can see here it shows up as about 6 gigs. I thought it was 8. Pretty sure it's marked as an 8 gig, so whatever. And there you go. You can see the 20 gig is showing up as about a 19. This 500 here SDC is actually my IODD device, where I actually store all my ISOs that I boot from. So believe it or not, I have a lot of images to choose from. It is fantastic, as well as just storing regular files, because the secondary partition on this that actually holds the ISOs is just like NTFS, something like that file system. Very, very simple, very common, at least supported by Windows and Linux and everything except maybe Apple. Apple probably does too, because I think it's Linux kernel. Anyway, I'm getting beyond myself here. This is not what I want to cover here. I need actually a terminal for what I want to do next, which is to make an exact copy of SDA to SDB. And there you go. There is. Looks like I tried to install some probably version of Windows FAT32 with a boot. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't need it. Delete. Apply. We're just going to clear that disk before we copy stuff. I don't really need to do this step. It's just, it doesn't take no time at all, so I just like to just do it quickly, just to ensure that the disk is kind of, unallocated space. Not necessary, but just nice. It'll take a little while here, as gparted has to rescan the partitions, and it just tries to take a look at all the disks that it sees on the computer. So it'll take a while to scan through everything to do again. As you can see, it's finished up here. I'm actually going to close it now, because it will need a rescan once the operation here that I'm about to enter completes. And it's pretty simple here. I'm just going to show it to you. Even though that gparted already did show me the disk, I'm just going to quickly show you here if you don't know that information. So first off, I'm going to sudo su into root, as usual. There is no spoon. Always remember that one. And then I'm going to do an fdisk-l just to list the disks itself. And as you can see here, because I have cleaned the SDB of all partitions, it shows no partitions here, which is kind of nice, as now we can easily define our 2 disks without even having to do a little, even though it shows up their 6 GB right here, and it shows up the 20 GB right here along with them, so that's great as well. I'm just going to run dfh here just to kind of show you disk free, just to see if there was anything actually mounted of those disks, and it looks like they're not, so that's good. So I'm just going to clean this up here. No, not that. There we go, clear. Now I'm going to start the process of actually copying the disks, and it's very simple. I'm just going to use the dd command here, so dd Let's try that again. So I don't know if the speed will be the same, but where's my other window? So there you go. There's a good example of a quick troubleshooting on a Butterfinger or a good old Pepcac. Let's open a new window here, because I don't know what happened to my other window. That's that one. There's that one. Where's my other spoon one? There we go. Back to my other spoon one. Anyway. Now that I have a legit DD going, and it's not butterfingered and going to memory and anything like that, again, it doesn't tell you how far along it is until it's done, as you saw, or at least something happens and it thinks it's done, or fails. Like as you saw, it crashing, it ran out of space, I guess in the memory space. So now that it's actually doing a disk to disk, so I didn't butterfinger it, I'm going to do a PSAUX grep DD here, and I'm just, as you see, I put square brackets over the one DD, so I don't actually grep this exact same command that I'm actually looking for. And as you can see here, I don't know how well I'm hoping with these bumps, I don't know, hopefully I'll be able to edit this and zoom in and make things actually visible. Hopefully the quality is good enough, but we'll see as I edit. But as you can see here, here it is, DD input file, output file dev, and it has a PID or a process ID of 1608. It doesn't show you here on the table, but I just know that this column here is the PID. So I'm going to do a little trick here. I'm going to actually do a kill, and I'm going to do dash capital USR1, and then the PID, which is 1608. And what this is going to do, it's actually going to kill, it's going to kill the DD, but it's going to keep it going right away. It's pretty cool. So we can actually see the progress, and there you go, at the bottom here on the other window. I'm going to go back to it here, right here. So as you can see here, it's done about 1.4 gigabytes already, and it's going at about 20.5 megabytes a second. So for only 5 megabytes less than what it was actually writing to memory, so not bad. I'm going to let it run on its own here. Like I said, it's only about 6 gigs, so hopefully it won't take too much longer. And I'll start the video once that's complete, and we'll do the next steps from there. Looks like it's decent. So now I'm just going to close these windows because the task of actually copying the disk is done. And we're just going to reopen up Gparted here. And it will scan the disks. And now when we look at SDA and SDB, they will have the exact same partition scheme because they are basically identical. Okay, so here we are, SDA, and if I go to SDB, ta-da, look at that, it's got the same partition scheme with this nice slot of unallocated space. So I'm going to grab the extended partition here, and I'm going to click resize remove, because you have to do the extended partition on a fat partition scheme before you can move the actual partition data. So I'm just gonna, you know, go with something arbitrarily crazy like 900,000 over, which is okay because as soon as I click away from it, it's gonna basically just take the mask that I can. And then I'm going to select my actual games partition here, and I'm going to click the same thing, size, resize, and I'm again going to go over 9,000 and click away and hit size remove, and now we're just going to apply here and click apply, and Gparted is going to work its magic. The great part about this is I will have more space to put my game installations on without having to literally do anything. As soon as I boot into Windows ME after this is done, I just have more space to use. It's just that easy with Gparted. You may have to run a check scan. Windows may complain that it's saying that it may not be good, clean, or something, but as soon as you run a check disk, it's good to go. We will hurdle that problem when we get there. For now, I will again stop the video until this completes. Welcome back. So, as you can see, the operation is completed successfully, which is great. I'm going to hit close here, and again, Gparted is going to scan all the disks. And we're going to be back off where we left. In the meantime, I'm going to be shutting down the computer and disconnecting my old ME installation. But I'm going to have to disconnect because I actually want my new 20 gig drive to be the master. And of course these IDs have jumper pins, and I'm going to have to, well, change that out before I can continue. So I'm just going to close out of here, exit out of here, and that's going to cause me to shut down, and I'll be back once this all finishes. Hello and welcome back. Hopefully this will be the last part of the video. If everything worked out, I power on the computer. I made the 20 gig hard drive, the master in the system, and the only thing on there that should be bootable. So it should boot right up into Windows ME. So let me press the power button here. And let's see what happens. So, screen flickers. Obviously, fast boot prevents me from seeing any of the drives, or as you saw, fast boot prevents kind of posting, or it's pretty quick and convenient at times, and sometimes not. But as you see, ME is booting, so that is a fantastic sign that the primary partition did not get buggered up from the DD command. Yeah, so let's take a gander here. My computer opened up, and if I expand my computer, there is my games partition, which is good. And if I open it up, oh, my games are still there. That's a good sign. And would you look at that? I mean, it's nice little... Don't even have to go to the properties. It just shows you a nice chart right here. Look, there it is. Free, 13 gigs available. Used, 3.88. On the old instance there, I was running pretty much up that chart, pie chart there was pretty much full. And so there you go, I've got room for more games. And more games are going to be coming, don't worry. That is how you, that is the easy way to expand partition. I mean, I guess you could also just install another disk into the system and just kind of use that, but I just liked it all being on one disk when I kind of boot these systems up to run these games for trial and video shooting. So there you have it. That's how I do it. I'm Zewwy. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks.